Hi everyone. Today we are going to discuss the difference between IPv4 and IPv6 header. So we will discuss the header part of the packet. So if we all know that IP packet actually carries our data, and the header part facilitates the transmission of our data, because in our header part we have the information about the source and destination addresses. We have some checking mechanism and fragmentation, so many information which we need for our data to travel from our source to the destination. And today we are going to look in the header part of both of the protocols, that is IPv4 and IPv6. So this is the header part of both of the IPv4 and IPv6. So first, the upper is the IPv4 header. The very first difference, the very first property of the IPv4 header is that the header length itself, or the header size itself, is variable, changeable. And header size of IPv6 is fixed, that is constant. And the header size in IPv4 varies from 20 to 60 bytes, but in IPv6 this is 40 bytes, and that is fixed. So this was the first difference. And then version field. So in both of the headers we have the version field, and this version field actually indicates the version of Internet Protocol. So if this is IPv4, then there are some 4 bits which will indicate that this is IP version 4, and if this is IP version 6, then these 4 bits will have this combination, and they will be placed in the version field to identify the Internet Protocol version. And then we have the length field. So the length field actually is used to indicate the header length, and it has been removed from IPv6. You can see length field is available in IPv4, but in IPv6 we don't have any length field, because in our case in IPv6 the header length is fixed, but here this is variable. Therefore we need a specific field to indicate that what is the length of the header in IPv4. And then we have DS field. So DS is differentiated service and type of service field before that. So this is 8-bit field, and that has been replaced by class field in IPv6 packet. So you can see there we have a class field. Sometimes this is also referred to as traffic class. This is 8-bit field, and that indicates the class or priority of IPv6 packets. So for example, from source to destination we are sending some packets, but some of the packets are really important, so we can set some of the higher priority for those packets. So the priority can be like delay, like throughput, or reliability. So in this way we can set the priority, like these are our VIP packets. Just treat them as a king. So in this way we can set some priority for our packets in this field. And then we have the packet length in IPv4 header. You can see this is the packet length, and this packet length actually indicates the total packet length, and this is replaced by payload length in our IPv6 header. So this in IPv6 is the payload length. So if you remember, we have this header part and we have this payload part. So in this, packet length is the total length of IPv4 packet, and in this case this payload length is actually the length of the payload, because for the header part we already know that this is always 40 bytes. And this payload length actually includes the extension header and PDU from upper layer. So of course this IP is carrying the data from upper layers like UDP and TCP, so that data part at that PDU, and plus extension headers are also there. So we are going to discuss extension header in the coming slides. And for larger payloads, for example, in this payload we have the maximum size is 2⁻16, because we have 16 bits here. But if we need larger payloads, then extension headers are used for that. So extension headers are important. Keep in mind, we will be coming to this in extension headers. Now the next field is flow label. This is a new field here in IPv6, and this is a 20-bit field, and this is used to indicate that the current packet belongs to some specific sequence of packets. For example, we have this source and we have destination here. So what happens? There are some of the packets which are traveling from source to destination, and we want that those packets should be given a special priority or special importance. So with this flow label, we can control that thing from source to destination. So we ask the routers which are in between the source and destination that please treat those packets in a special way. So flow label is there in general. And then we have these different fields in IPv4. We can see this is identification field, flag field, and we also have fragment offset. So these all fields are removed in IPv6 because these all fields actually mention the fragmentation thing. So we fragment the data and then we need some information to just reassemble those all data. But these all things have been removed in IPv6. And for fragmentation, the fragmentation information is placed in extension headers. And also the header checksum field has been removed in IPv6, and checking in terms of IPv6 is done at the link layer. So header checksum has also been removed in IPv6. And then is the time to live. So time to live field has been replaced by hop limit field. So they are same. So time to live and hop limit, what they indicate? They indicate, for example, time to live is in terms of time. And in case of hop limit means how many jumps or how many routers in between source and destination a packet is allowed to live. So maybe if the packet flows from this, and we can say time to live is 3, it means after 3 routers, the packet will be discarded, and there will be a message sent to the source, and that message is ICMP-v6, and that message is actually time exceeded. So that message will be sent back to the source. Anyway, so hop limit is going to mention or is going to dictate the life of the packets, because the packets have to die in the network. They can't live forever in the network. And then we have this protocol field in IPv4. So protocol field in IPv4 actually gives information about the upper layer protocol. It means upper layer protocols means this IP packet is carrying data from TCP or UDP, because these are the upper layer protocols for which this IP is going to provide the services. Anyway, this protocol field has been replaced or just the rename with some additional functionality in the next header. So this next header actually field is mostly similar to protocol field in IPv4, and this indicates the upper layer protocol like UDP, TCP, or ICMP version 4 messages, the next header. In addition, this next header, so this next header is important because next header field has information about our extension headers. So extension headers has some additional information which we will be discussing in coming field, but next header is the important field. And then, of course, well-known source at IP address. So in case of IPv4, we have 32 bits, and in case of IPv6, we have 128 bits. This is one of the most important point, one of the most important difference between IPv4 and IPv6, because in IPv4 we have only 32 bits. We cannot give that many nodes the IP address, but in case of IPv6 we have 128 bits. It means 2 raised to power 128 nodes can be assigned IP addresses. But in case of 32 bits, we have not those many bits, that is 32. So of course in destination we have the destination and mostly the address of the destination, but sometimes we also have the address of the intermediate routers, because we want to process, we want some of the processes to be done by the intermediate routers. So sometimes we have the destination, we have the address of the intermediate routers in the destination field. And finally, this is the option. So the option field, the functionality of this option field has been moved to extension headers. So look, extension header, the discussion of extension header has come multiple times. This is important. Now, this extension header field information is there in the next header. So in the next header, we can have different values, and those different values will indicate us different extension headers. So now you see here in this IPv6 packet, actually we have IPv6 header, and we also have some optional extension header to facilitate our communication. We have sometimes this may be there, sometimes there will not be any extension header, and sometimes there will be multiple extension headers. So these are these extension headers, and this information we find here in the next header field. And if the value in the next header field is 0 or 43 or 45, and if there are many, I mean, there are many extension headers possible in this IPv6. Some of them have been mentioned here. So for example, if in the next header field we have value of 0, this indicates that there will be extension header, that is hop by hop option header, and that header actually indicates information for each node from source to destination. So for example, we have this source and we have this destination. So there may be multiple nodes in between them. So in this extension header, if this is for this value, it means this is going to give information for each node which is coming between source and destination. So for this node, there will be some information. It means this node has to do something or whatever information, but for each node, there will be some information. In the same way, if in the next header field we have a value of 43, it means that value is indicating an extension header, and that extension header is a routing header. And in that routing header, we have information that defines all the routers from source to destination that a packet must follow. For example, here we have source and here we have destination, and there may be multiple paths to follow for the packet from the source to destination. But what we want that our packet must go through these routers. Then that information can be provided in routing header, extension header, which is actually extension header. In the same way, for fragmentation, we can have another extension header that is known as fragment header, and in the same way, we can have authentication header that is used for data authentication or data integrity, and we can also have node next header. It means we will not have any extension header, only the IPv6, the standard header, and the upper layer data or PDU will be there. So in this way, actually, I mean, there are multiple functionalities which have been shifted to the extension header, and some of the fields have been removed which were actually present in IPv4. And in this way, and they have made the length of IPv6 header fixed, that is 40 bytes. So yes, these were some of the differences which we discussed today in this video, and I hope at least some of the points we were able to discuss in a bit understandable way. And yes, thank you very much for your time.